back to my channel. So I'm using the least or the last of the light from today plus like my little mini ring light. I also look oily, but that's because I'm only wearing moisturizer today. I really did the bare minimum with my makeup. And I wanted to talk about today a topic that a lot of people may relate to, but I don't know if this gets talked about enough. So, and as a person that definitely identifies as the topic, I wanted to shed some light on it because this is something that I have a lot of insight on now, being 30 and just kind of like dealing with this my whole life. So you may relate to this video. Today I'm going to be talking about 5 signs or more probably that you are an old soul. So like the biggest thing that I will say, the reason I wanted to talk about this is because it's a really interesting experience. And again, if you don't believe we are souls, I'm not here to discuss that today. That would be way too long of a video. I'm not here to go back and forth about that. But I really just feel like being an old soul is a really interesting experience because one of the biggest things is you do not relate to people your age. Like that was one of the biggest things growing up that you guys, first of all, I also always heard throughout my life, oh, you're so mature for your age, you're so mature for your age, you're so mature for your age. And of course, like my parents influenced that. Like I'm not gonna take that away from them because both of them are extremely wise, so they obviously like poured that into me. But also like, yeah, I was just always very mature for my age, and I couldn't explain why or how, but that's just kind of like how it's always been. I've always been very much childlike, I will say that, which is very different because that's just more so like you're very playful, you know, you like to have fun, you like to laugh, you know, that's kind of never gonna change because that's like my essence. But if you're an old soul, you tend to hear that a lot. You tend to hear, wow, you're so mature for your age. And this may start, I would say, like your teenage years, because I could hear that. I remember hearing this as early as like 14 years old. So that's one thing I will say. And then the other thing is like, again, moving forward along, is that you don't relate to people your age. So you are constantly going to be experiencing feeling like just an outcast and feeling like you do not relate to the way people carry themselves, to the way that people do things. Like I felt like I was very like, by the time I got to high school, I was so irritated. Like I was so ready to graduate. Like my favorite part of high school, I always say this, is graduating. Like that, my graduation was my favorite day of high school, just because the maturity level, it was very annoying to deal with people. And people at that age are in such a stupid like mentality, like, and putting other people down, the clique mentality, not thinking for yourself, peer pressure, like all of these different things I just was not into at that age. I was very much like a mind of my own. So again, I kind of just was a loner for real. And that takes me into my other one, my second one or my third, I don't know. Bear with me, you guys, because I'm talking from experience and I'm not ChatGPT. Unfortunately, I can't have everything super organized. But I feel like the biggest thing was being a popular loner. So you may naturally be like extremely self-reflective and self-aware and introspective. Like you also, I would say, you value depth over surface level, and that's another thing that contributes to you struggling to relate to folks your age. And just like in general, socially, you struggle because a lot of stuff, till this day I struggle with this, oh my god, because I can't stand surface level shit. Like I hate small talk, I hate anything that is just surface level and like a facade. I like to go into depth. And so, and again, you have to do small talk, like that's kind of part of life. You at work, you have to do that and stuff of that nature. But do I prefer small talk? Absolutely not. So, and surface level stuff, absolutely not. So you may naturally just be like an introspective person and extremely self-aware as well. And then another one that I would say is this is a really interesting one, and this like was another confirmation for myself that I was absolutely like an older soul, because you're always attracted to older things, like vintage items, like you are, for in whatever capacity, like for example, vinyl players, old trinkets, just little things that are like from the past, whether it's the 20s, the 1800s, the 70s, the 80s, like whatever it is. I have a theory that I died very young in my past life, and that I just like reincarnated again. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it, because I really am I've always had this like gravitational pull towards like the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s, those three. So yeah, definitely if you're interested in vintage items and vintage things, music, pop culture, whatever, in whatever capacity, that is also a key indicator that you're an older soul. Another thing that I will say, and let me reference my little list, that was see. Oh, well, I mean, I guess I covered them all, you guys. I feel like the biggest thing, they also said that, like I said earlier, introspective and self-aware. I just feel like, I'll end this video by saying that being an old soul is a really isolating experience, because you tend to value things that the outer society does not. So it makes you feel like an outcast. It makes you feel like you don't belong in this world, honestly, and you're just gonna spend a lot of time in solitude because of that. And 9 times out of 10, naturally, as an old soul, you enjoy solitude, but you know, it's a really interesting experience. But I wouldn't change it for a theme. Like, I don't know, I really think it's made my life path very unique. And yeah, you're next time someone tells you you're mature for your age, dig deeper into why that is. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Do not feel like weird or outcasted, or just like, yeah, just don't feel left out, or like you're missing out on anything, especially if you're younger watching this and you're like in high school and shit. Because again, you may feel like, why don't I relate to these people? Like, it used to really fuck with me, because I was like, why can't I just be on these people's mental level? And it's just not gonna happen. As an old soul, you just have to accept that, and that is just part of the experience. So yeah, if you like this video, share it with somebody, leave me a comment down below, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and I will see y'all in my next video.